Hey guys, Anthony here. I am reaching out to you guys again. I have multiple sclerosis and I am moving forward. The rough part of that moving forward is the information that I've gotten over the last 2 weeks. Last week I went and had an MRI, and the results that the MRI people gave me, and then the MRI that I took a look at, I have a little bit of knowledge, and I have a wife who is an RN, and so we are able to go and examine it a little bit, but we ended up having my regular scheduled visit with my neurologist, and he went and took a look at it, and he walked in and he says, "Well, you know what this means." And I went and told him, I said, "Yeah, it means that I've gone progressive." And he says, yeah. He had been trying to go and do everything to go and keep me from being classified as progressive, as there really isn't anything that's a treatment for progressive. But he did go and tell me, he says, you could have stayed on the Tysabri, but turns out that the insurance company who gave me a nightmare, which I've told you about, they finally decided they were going to go and let me have 2. Gee, that's not going to make a difference or help much. After 2, I will end up being back in the same situation where I'm at now. But I told him, I said, look, I said, my eyes are getting worse from the optic neuritis. My ability to stand, walk, move, and do things is getting worse. My ability to speak on a regular basis constantly is getting worse. And for somebody that talked for a living, between the sales that I did my entire life and the ministry I've done since I was a teenager, I couldn't run into anybody that I didn't just talk to and have a conversation with. It's just been who I am. But it's gotten to the point where there's a lot of times that I can have a conversation. I sound worse than my 2-year-old grandson in speaking sometimes. And plus there's other issues too. I've got the MS tremors that some people get. Mine is kind of fun to watch because sometimes I do crazy arm gestures like, ah. But he went and told me, he says, well, we can go and help that a little bit more than what we've been doing. Not that I like taking another pill for the symptoms and stuff or the conditions, but that's what I get to do. But they are moving me to Ocrevus. I think I'm saying that correctly. I've been going through the process, doing all the blood tests, doing signing all the papers and stuff like that to get the process started. I know it's still a chemo-style drug. I don't know a whole lot about it. It's only been approved for about 18 months, it looks like. And there's not enough people that are on it to go and give me a ton of information to know my own research. But from the research I've had, it does similar to what just about everything else does. It works great for some, and it's questionable for others, and it's bad for others on top of it. It seems like that's the case with just about any kind of medication. But that is the direction that I am going. It's not that it was a hard choice. Me and my wife had talked about it prior to us going to the doctor, because I had done research and had seen that it is the only FDA approved for progressive multiple sclerosis, and I knew that he was going to make a change for me. And he did. And we agreed that we were not going to even say the mention of it or anything like that, but he walked into the room, and one of the first things he said was, "What do you guys think about Ocrevus?" And, or Ocrevus. And, we very rapidly together, we went and took that as the sign and just said, yep, that's the direction that we're looking to go. And we just took that as, we knew that God has made an impact on my neurologist's life, and that my neurologist is one of the more reputable neurologists for multiple sclerosis. And he has put me on stuff in the past. When Tysabri came back around, after the FDA approved it to come back, I was one of the first people back on it. When Rebif came out, I was one of the first people on it. So I mean, I've got a lot of trust for him. He's never done me wrong, and anytime I've had a problem, he's always said, back to the drawing board, we'll go. But I do want to say that, things can get complicated, things can get hard, things can get progressive. But our trust is in Jesus Christ, and Jesus said that I am going to go on, I am going to push forward. He's going to use me to do all kinds of things. As a matter of fact, right after I became disabled, I ended up being asked if I wanted to do ministry in the prison system, and I've been doing that for about 13 years now. And it turned out that during that 13 years, there's been a couple of men that God has brought into my life that they're like brothers in Christ, because they've given their life to Christ. They realize the mistakes they've made. They are not afraid to go and say, hey, I messed up. but they also know that they will have to pay for those mistakes, and they also know that Jesus forgives them of those mistakes when they confess their sins to Him. And this young man that went and sent me a Christmas card, I don't think he realized I was there in the facility that he got transferred to. Back in, I think it was September or October, I was in there. We did a Kairos weekend, and they actually had the residents that had been through a Kairos serving the tables and bringing the food and the drinks and stuff out to the tables where we were sitting with the participants of that weekend. And I think that he was so busy that he didn't get a chance to look around and notice that I was out there. But it was really cool that he has given his life so much to God that he wants to make sure that these other guys get an opportunity to hear the truth and the light that is Jesus Christ. And I tell you all that because I got a Christmas card yesterday that it was almost like getting a Christmas card that was hand-drawn by your child, because this is a young man that he's just a couple years younger than me, that he is just blown away by the fact that we care enough to go in there, and that me with multiple sclerosis in a power chair, that I go in and he knows the pain that I deal with, he knows the struggles that I deal with, but at the same time, he knows that I go in there and I will spend 4 days inside that prison, going in just doing hours of ministry with these guys. And it just blows him away that I'm willing to do that. Well, I may be willing to do it only because I'm not the one doing it. It's being done by Christ. I'm just the body, and, I have learned that in my weakness, He is strong, which means that because there's a whole lot less of me and a whole lot more of Him, that a whole lot more gets done, which is really kind of neat and kind of cool. So this update's basically that wanted to let you know that 1, I have been confirmed as being progressive now, and 2, I am going to the new drug, or a fairly new drug, Ocrevus. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. I need to know that people are doing it. I'm trying to go and build some subscribers for this, because I really want to create an outlet for people who want to know. Thank you guys. This is Anthony. I have MS, but I am going to move forward.